It is time for the return of Mansplaining the Handmaid's Tale. Yes, that's right, the Testaments have dropped. So this will be Testicles Talking the Testaments. So just finished watching the very first episode. I will admit, I'm impressed. Very impressed with the first episode. So basically, we are following along Agnes. And of course, remember, it was June's daughter that she never got the happy reunion with in The Handmaid's Tale. Now we are doing the Testaments. We get a little bit of an update. We don't get much of what's been going on, but it's been 15 years since the events of The Handmaid's Tale, since Boston had been freed from Gilead. It's really just not much. It's basically like a lot of the leadership was purged, and the survivors had the ability to mold it the way they saw fit. And then we see a statue of Aunt Lydia. Now, I mean, this is kind of interesting. So Aunt Lydia still has pull in Gilead, even though she totally denounced them and was all like, fuck these evil godless men. At the same time, I guess most of those commanders died. That heard her say that, but still, it wasn't for hours later. They got phones. They should have told somebody. So we get introduced to Agnes's stepmom. She's a wicked stepmother. She wants her gone. I do love how she's always got a riding crop on her. She apparently rides horses or some fucking shit, man. She is definitely whooping Agnes's ass with that riding crop in some episode down the line. That's my prediction I'm throwing out with that right here. Then we are introduced to the Pearl Girls. We then get to see Aunt Lydia again, and she seems to have control of the place. Is all running this shit. And, it's still pretty fucked up. She ain't really learned all that much, if anything. So she tells Agnes, hey, I need you to keep an eye on this Pearl Girl. The Pearl Girls wear white, and these are girls from outside of Gilead that they brought in and have convinced them to willingly join up. Obviously, my first thought is, what kind of retard would willingly join up for this shit? But, people wanted babies, I guess. That makes sense. And it's funny because the Plums are like, yeah, all these bitches are snitches. Straight up. You can't trust none of them. So Agnes is none too pleased to be having to watch after this Pearl Girl who's probably going to knock on her about everything. And we are treated to another fucked up ceremony. The Handmaid's Tale was full of them, so this has got to have one. And we are treated to they get to punish a guy. He's ball gagged and claiming he was caught pleasuring himself. And the funny shit is the answer yo, you girls are not without blame here too. You tempting this young man. Yep, of course, we're throwing that fucked up shit. So basically, for the crime of jacking himself off, the aunts leave it up to the girls. Do we punish him? And, the girls are all oh yeah, hell yeah. They're all let's do it. Resident Pearl Girl, she can't quite stomach the new experience here. And she's ended up throwing up. She's not only throwing up, but she is swearing up a storm because of it. She is Jesus fucking Christ, they tore his fucking hand off, oh my God, So after that, we are treated to a little bit of a little bit of a flashback. We see that Daisy is actually, we get back to her before the time in her land. She's looking like a normal girl, going down the street, and then she walks by a blonde-haired woman. Well, guess who it is when she turns it on? It's June Osborne, and she has not aged a fucking day. And then, of course, the end of it is Agnes explaining, of course, without calendars, we have other ways of marking things. The day I became eligible, and the day I met Daisy. Everything will change. Dun, dun, dun. Overall, I will say, episode 1, it has me interested, has me hooked. So I've completed episodes 2 and 3 of the Testaments. I have to admit, I am intrigued so far. That's a strong start to this show, straight up. Alright, episode 2 is mostly just further confuses me on the timeline. So episode 2 is all about Agnes becoming eligible, which, from what I gather, means she got her period. So again, this is what's got me confused on the timeline. I mean, without rewatching the Handmaid's Tale, I'm pretty sure Agnes is like 12 at the end of it. Cause she's wearing like the plum uniform and she's like a wife in training or some shit at that point. But then this starts and she's still in the wife training shit. But she should be like 27. But that is obviously not right if she's just got her first fucking period. Maybe like it's not 15 years later because June does not look like she is aged at all. Not that they could really do much to the actor, but I will eventually seek clarification. I am sure the internet will provide. Now, episode 3 gives us, finally, we get the story on Daisy, or at the very least, some kind of story about Daisy. Well, okay, we learn what the mystery is, basically. We go back to Canada, and Daisy is like, she's hanging out with her parents, and she's getting high, and hanging out with her boyfriend. Bam! Her parents are robbed and murdered. It's a big, big thing. But then June shows up, picks her up, and is like, hey, turns out your parents were not just randomly robbed and murdered. Nope, those were agents of Gilead, and they gonna kill you too. Basically, June's got to get her out of there. And then we learn that at the end, June tells her, oh, Gilead wants you back. Yeah, that's right, we want you back because they think you're theirs. Because when you was a baby, your parents snuck you out. And those people, those ain't your parents. I mean, of course, she's like, yeah, they're your parents, like, in that sense. You're not your birth parents, basically, is what she means. But yeah, so the craziest part about this is of course, like, now we're left wondering, so who is Daisy's parents? Is, of course, now the big mystery. I don't know, man. Who do you think is gonna be? My biggest thing is, like, I'm glad they have not gone super shocking with all, like, the rape stuff, because this one is, like, geared more towards children. The Handmaid's Tale gets, like, hard to watch. I, like, see the first 3 seasons at times. I found by season 4, like, the shock value was starting to wear off, and I was just kind of like, hey, yeah, whatever. I feel like with the kids, there's a whole nother level of shock value coming. Alright, dude, who's watching The Handmaid's Tale and the Testaments? So, of course, I'm gonna be nitpicking shit and making fun of it. But at the same time, this is a world where I'm supposed to believe that women are not allowed to read, but they're encouraged to learn music, and they're making art. Now, I know, like, they're trying to reform. Allegedly, Aunt Lydia, wanted to do better, so yeah, maybe this is her way of doing it, and I guess you don't necessarily need to know how to, like, read, like, English, but in order to read sheet music. But at the same time, I feel like if you can read sheet music, like, you should be able to read.